there was a great argument about the hippie movement in America. The hippie movement in America, the Vietnam War, opposition to the Vietnam War, started with the Catholic Church. It started with very, it started with priests. It started with people that were saying we're nonviolent, we don't think we should do this, it's not our fight. And then it became drenched in psychedelic drugs. It became about free love. And if you look at who's pushing all of that, it is a lot of these interesting cults and groups that have real ties to U.S. intelligence. And that's a fact. And it doesn't mean that it wouldn't have happened anyway. Maybe they sped it up. Maybe they accelerated it. But you're looking at, the CIA working with Timothy Leary. You're looking at a lot of those weird cults and stuff having some relationship with intelligence. And if you look at especially California and Laurel Canyon in that area, it is very, very strange. That book, you had that guy on your
Chaos,
show.
Tom O'Neill.
Yeah, Tom O'Neill.
Incredible book. And I brought it up the other day with Quentin Tarantino, and Tarantino had read it as well.
Yeah.
I think did he say he read it after he wrote the script?
I think he talked. I think he said he talked to him for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's after though.
Yeah, I think after he really did the deep dive and found out how fucking crazy the whole CIA experiments with LSD are.
Oh yeah.
To the point where my wife's mom was a hippie in Haight-Ashbury back in the Dizzy, and now if you met her, she's like super nice grandma lady you would never imagine.
Right.
But back in the day, she used to go to the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic, which was literally run by the CIA. And that's where Manson and all those guys were getting acid from.
Right.
And then right after Tom O'Neill's book comes out, the fucking Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic had been around for decades.
Right.
After Tom O'Neill's book, a couple months later, gone. They shut it down.
It's crazy.
It was a part of Operation Midnight Climax.
Yes.
All those people dosing people with acid.
Well, that's the whole thing. And then if you look at Operation Mockingbird, how far the CIA is entrenched into the media and how far all the media narratives are being sculpted by a lot of the U.S. intelligence people, and then a lot of the social movements that we think are just organic grassroots movements are either started, encouraged, or co-opted by. So everything's possible. Anything is possible.
It is
absolutely anything is possible. When you saw the riots in L.A. and you saw these teams of people burning cars.
The recent riots? The George Floyd
riots, but there were teams of really skilled people going in there, and there were cop cars that were abandoned. Why are there cop cars abandoned?
Right.
Who's abandoning a cop car in the middle of a street before the riot? Weird things happen where you start seeing yourself I think the idea that chaos makes people more compliant and makes people go, hey, whatever new laws you guys need to pass, do it.
How about the pallets of rocks and bricks that were left around?
Crazy.
That's real shit.
It's crazy.
And people say, oh, this is a baseless conspiracy theory. There were actual construction jobs going on at the time.
No.
Listen, nonsense. Take it from someone who's worked in construction. They don't just pull fucking pallets of bricks and leave them laying around where they know there's going to be riots.
It's an absolute possibility that no matter what, if there is a threat to the mainstream, if there is a threat to the system, making those people seem as extreme as humanly possible, and a lot of them are, but making them seem really crazy and really violent delegitimizes all of their good points.
Yeah.
And what it allows is people to then dismiss anything that comes from that group or that whatever that base of ideas.
Did anybody ever do an investigation on the plates of the pallets of bricks, like a legitimate independent organization do an investigation to figure out what the fuck was going on? Because so many people that were showing up at these protests, and even where there were no construction sites, would find these pallets of bricks. Like, what in the fuck?
People, it's crazy. And then you start thinking about, you're like, oh my God, is anything real? Or are we just living in a video game that people are arranging pretty much everything? And we're looking at all these events and we're thinking they're all organic. And what they allow us to do is, no matter what the events are, whether it's Antifa or whether it's a Capitol riot, we just go, well, the other side is nuts. But what if it's really just a group of people kind of really helping curate this division so that they can remain in power and fuck kids on Epstein's Island?
That's the most insidious possibility, right? That is the most insidious possibility.
That's crazy.
Things have gotten to the point where, Antifa now, because you can get in trouble for carrying weapons. Now they carry frying pans. They're hitting people over the head with frying pans. They're saying, well, we're on our way to go cook.
Well,
and so they have cast iron frying pans. And they're
hilarious.
bashing
They're
people's-
heavy.
It's a great weapon.
It's a great
especially
weapon.
if there's a what is it called? There's one company in New York
That makes them.
that makes a great one because it makes a really long cast iron handle.
Okay.
So you could grab it.
I have it.
even
I got
when
my
it's hot.
friend got me that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we make every steak or burger on that. grill.
Yeah, they're great.
And pork chops, everything.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
I found out about it from Bourdain because Bourdain had this video that he was doing, this video series he was doing on YouTube where he would go to visit people that were making things. And there was a place in Brooklyn, and they basically take like brake rotors, which are cast iron brake rotors, and they would melt these old rotors down and turn them into frying pans.
Wow.
So they had a whole, what are those things called? Furnace, what is it called? When they do that when they're making knives and shit, they're casting them in the, the fuck's that called?
Kiln?
It's like a kiln, but there's another word for it when they're doing it with metal.
Smolting or something?
I think it was forge.
Forging.
So they're like the company's something forge, and they make these really cool frying pans with a nice long handle. You can really bash a fascist over the head with it.
I love the idea that this company is going, we're doing great business in Seattle. They go, we're killing it in Portland.
charts.
We had no idea.
Everybody loves cooking.
It's very strange when you start zooming out and you start going, what do we know? And what is real and what isn't real? And we know so many crazy people. That's why everything's believable. Because we know so many fucking lunatics that we go, listen, people are just crazy. But that being said, the powers that be know they're crazy.
Yeah.
And you can easily steer them to do anything. And sometimes they don't even need to be steered. They're just there.
Well, the idea that we've stopped manipulating the population is ridiculous. Right. Why would they do that? It's
Why would
been
they
very
stop
effective.
it? Why would they stop it?
They did it through the 60s. They did it through the 70s.
Well, I love the Pentagon just came out and they were like, hey, ISIS is still a threat. And everyone's like, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Enough. People are like, no, they're like, no, they're still a threat. And they go, not only is it not a threat, but like you guys can't come back 4 years later. I mean, it's an old bit. It's like a comic doing an old bit. You go, that was on your special. That was on your special 3 years ago. You're doing ISIS? You're closing with ISIS? You can't do it. And again, I think it's just, it's this just people need to be controlled.